Hello guys, welcome back to our session, and in this session we're going to look at how to do a PF formatting. So I'm going to take you a step-by-step process over which we are going to discuss everything pertaining a PF formatting. Even though this might be a summary, but I'm going to try and ensure that you get everything that involves a PF formatting. So we want to see how fast we develop our APA cover page. So developing an APA cover page, I want to assume that you know how to open your Word document. So after opening a Word document, if you are doing writing, so the first thing you're supposed to do is to prepare a cover page. APA has got a separate cover page. So what you're supposed to do is to double click, right, uh, left double click, so that you gain that taskbar, and it is the header. So after you double click, you have the header space here. So the header space, you go on your number page or page number, click page number, and then you click top page, and clicking top page, take the arrow and then go down to your plane number 3, then select plane number 3. That is now becoming your first page, and it is numbered consecutively. You'll find that the second page will also be numbered at second page, and the same up to the last page. So after that, after inserting the page number, you double click outside, then you'll have your writing space. So the writing space, first thing you're supposed to write the title. So like in this case, our title will be APA formatting. You'll have APA formatting, and then after writing the title, you're supposed to write the student's name. And then after writing the student's name, you write the course title. After your course title, you're supposed now to write the department. And after the department, you are supposed to write the tutor's name. And then after tutor's name, you write institutional affiliation. And then after institutional affiliation, you write the date of your assignment or the date of your work. So after that, you're supposed to highlight and make every word capitalized in this case. So after highlighting, go to change case and then click capitalize each word. So after capitalizing each word, you'll find that the first word is capitalized, the second word, the first letter is capitalized. So here, this APA should be in uppercase, so you can come back there and change it uppercase. So after that, you're supposed to center align them. So highlight and again click center. So after clicking center, then put the cursor just before your title. This is the title, APA formatting, and then enter like twice, be center like that, and then after the title, the student's name, and the course title, put the cursor after the course title, and then after the department, and then do enter. So after the title also, you need to enter to create the space between the title and the student's name. Then after the department, you also you click enter space, and then you create the space between the department and the tutor's name. So after that, you're supposed to go to the second page. So your second page is supposed to have the title, and so what you do is you just copy the title of your paper and then go to the second page, and then after second page, copy paste it there. So when you paste it, make sure that it is centered align. So after that, when it is done, you are supposed now to start opening your paper. So you're starting the paper, you're supposed to do an introduction of the paper. So that is the first thing that will appear. So up to this level, this introduction, it takes us back now to what we call the APA formatting by just writing introduction. So having that APA formatting, we can now look at how the APA headings are supposed to look like. So the APA heading as an example we can have here, our APA heading here, how the headings appear. The heading will appear in what we call the level format. So the first level format is always centered, boldface, uppercase, and lowercase headings. And then you find that the text will now start the new paragraph. We want to assume that this is the first introduction here is what we call as the first level. So our first level will be centered, it is bold as we indicated here, and then it's supposed to be uppercase and lowercase headings. So the uppercase is the first letter here is the uppercase, and then the remaining is supposed to be lowercase. So in any case that we are going to have it, in any case you're going to have, no, this is what we call the what? The level 1 heading. So you are going to have it as bold, and also ensure that it has some element of uppercase and lowercase. Then after that, we are supposed to go to the second what we call that the second level. In the second level, you'll find that it appears at the beginning of your writing, that is the left side. So it is always flash left, boldface, uppercase, and lowercase heading, and you ensure that text will start your new paragraph. The third level is indented, boldface, lowercase paragraph heading ending with a period. So in that case, if you are in third case, then you are not supposed to start your writing by just now putting a subheading or in terms of being bold or, and having both uppercase. In third level, there is no uppercase. And then in fourth level, it is indented, boldface, italicized, and lowercase paragraph. That is different from the third case. You can see that the third level, it is not being italicized. In the fourth level, it is italicized. But in the second level, it is uppercase and lowercase. And it is not heading ending with a period. It's not ending with the period as the case of the third level. So the fifth level is now indented, italicized, lowercase paragraph, heading ending with a period. There is no bold at the fifth level. So we can see the example. If we want to apply the format APA headings, our example we can use, we can borrow an example from a research paper. So when we always write a research paper, the research paper is made up of different title. So we want to take an example of the third chapter. Third chapter is always a methodology chapter. So you can say that using chapter 3 of the research paper, that is the methodology. So you'll find that in the methodology, the chapter 3 method is the level 1, that is the methodology. And you'll find that when you write methodology, the elements of the chapter 3 or the methodology. One of the elements will be the level 2. Here we call the site of the study. You'll describe your site of the study. And you find that in this case, the site of the study as the level 1 heading, the level 2 heading, it is bold, there is uppercase and lowercase, and it is flash to the left. Then level 2 again, the participant population, that is still level 2 because it is the same as the site of the study. Then we have the teachers, which is now the level 3. If the research is conducted about teachers, it is now narrowing down to the specific type of population that or the participant population that we are discussing or we are evaluating. So you will see it's now somehow italicized. Then the students also italicized, and as because it is level 3, special ability is level 2, and you can see the results. The results is now a level 1 topic, a level 1 heading, I mean. So it appears at the center, and you can see it's bold and centered. So that's the way it's supposed to appear. So again, apart from just the APA formatting, we are also having the guideline on how the writing style and the grammar is supposed to be. So under APA formatting at 7th edition, you find that you are not you are supposed to use certain writing mechanism. So you are allowed, you say that for instance, rather than writing, I don't know who wrote this, or maybe we say that in 7th edition, you are supposed to use they as a singular pronoun. Normally, they is always a plural. That is in normal English class. They using the word they because you if you maybe refer to one person, if there are many, you'll refer to them as they in a situation whereby it is a pronoun, you don't mention their name. So here you use they as a singular if you are writing about a gender that is not known or irrelevant. So if the gender is not known and is even a single person, you refer to them as to such person as they. For example, instead of writing I don't know who wrote there is not, you can write I don't know who wrote this note, but he or she has a good handwriting. You can write that I don't know who wrote this note, but they have good handwriting. They to represent he or she. So instead of using the pronouns he or she, you're supposed to use they. So also they should be used for a person who uses they as their personal pronoun. In both cases, the derivatives of they, like them, their, themselves, and so on, should be used accordingly. So those are the things that you're supposed to look at. How you put your writing style. You instead of using he or she, please try to make use of they. That is what is recommended in 7th edition. That is different with the case of sixth edition. So when you use they, just use it the way you can use it, the way you can use them and themselves. Then we can go to bias-free language. APA 7th edition also requires to comply to a universal language of writing, and we avoid biasness in that writing. So in this case, for example, we have the use of first person. So the person first language, wherever possible, is advisable. So for example, when you are constructing your sentence, somebody might say that a man with ellipse. That is not really acceptable in 7th edition, even though the sentence itself is right. So in 7th edition, academically, it is proposed that instead of just writing a man with ellipse, you are supposed to write an elliptic man. So that sentence is direct, it's clear, and specific. So a man with ellipse, you find that it can be to some extent is wordy as well, maybe not, but now an elliptic man, it's more clearer and specific. Also, you're supposed to avoid adjectives as nouns. So, for example, if you are using an adjective as a noun, like the term poor, so instead of using the adjective to describe specific noun, you are supposed to use a descriptive noun phrase. For example, people living in poverty. Yeah, that will be clear. Another thing, the labels rather than general ones when used. For example, cisgender men is more specific than men. So when you say that they're cisgender men, you'll communicate like you'll communicate better than just saying the men. For example, the Korean Americans is more specific than Asian Americans. You see, because when you look at Asian Americans, Korean are both Asians. Maybe Indians are Asians. So when you narrow down to Korean American, it's very easy. For example, you can say you can say that African Americans. But instead of going to African American, you can say Ghanaian Americans. It's more specific. So those are some of the ropes of the bias-free language because you go specific. you're not gambling about something. So after that, we can have a look at we can have a look at the in-text citation. So in our in-text citation, again, it's different with what is in the MLA. So one of the things is that regardless of the medium of the source, all sources with three authors or more are attributed using the name of the first author followed by et al. In sixth edition, you were supposed to write all the three authors in that case. But in this case, and then subsequent, the first writing, you write the name of the three authors or more of them, and in the subsequent mentioning of the authors, if they're the same, then you write the first name and then et al. That is not the case in 7th edition. In 7th editions, once the authors are three or more, you are supposed to write the name of the first author, that is the surname, and then followed by et al. So the only exception to this occurs when doing so, creating ambiguity. If two papers have first listed authors with the same name, in these cases, list as many names as needed to differentiate the papers. Sometimes you may find a paper, two or three, with similar, what we call the surnames. So to maybe do away with ambiguity or eliminate confusion, you are supposed to list as many names as possible that will show the distinctions between the papers. If you don't do, you just use one, then somebody might not know that you are referring to a different paper. So an example here you can see, it's Fanon, Chan, Ramirez, Johnson, and Grandstoria, 2019, and Fanon, Chan, Montego. So you see, after the Chan here, we have now somebody called Montego. Here we had somebody, Ramirez. We have Daniels, here there was Johnson, and then we have Miller, here was Grimm's daughter. All of them are 2019. So by listing all the names in this case makes the difference. But makes the difference because you find that the first two authors were sharing the same name. So that is when you do that. But in a case whereby you're using a paper that does not share other names with other papers, you are just supposed to write one name and then followed by et al. In reference list, our reference list, the 7th edition requires that up to 20 authors should be included in the reference list. This is different with the other cases. So you'll find that for sources with more than 20 authors, after the 19th listed author, any additional authors' names are replaced with an ellipsis. Ellipsis are three dots. So if you have more than 20 authors, you write all the 19 names and then have ellipses or dots and then followed by the final listed author's name. But you are not required to replace or to place an ampersand before the final author's name. For the digital object identifiers, what we call the DOIs and URLs, both of them are presented as hyperlink for electronic sources. This is different with the 6th edition, whereby the DOI was being labeled. In 7th edition, it is not required, but they are provided as hyperlinks. Also, the word retrieved from that preceding the URL or DOI are only used when a retrieval date is also provided in the citation. So you need to ensure that uh, retrieval date or yes, retrieval date is provided. For example, if I'm citing work in from a certain website, and let's say that it is date 27th of August. So what you're going to do, you are supposed to include that date, the date that you retrieved the paper from. So it will be indicated. So those are the ropes that we are supposed to look at when you're writing your paper. So when you're writing your paper, you also need to do an electronic references. For example, you can say if you are given maybe a paper and they say that discuss 4 factors that determines the size, that determine the size, the sample size, that determine the sample size of a study. If that is the thing, you know that you need to think at what are these factors? What are these factors that might affect the sample size of a study? So thinking about the size of the sample size and what affects them and how they relate, once you've found them and write them down, or you just decide that let me check a source that is talking about this. So for example, you may find that one of the factors that will determine the size of a sample size will be the study size, and then you have the outcome of the measures, and apart from the outcome of the measures, there is something like a method of sampling, and then the significance level. So let's assume that those are the four factors that will affect the that will affect the sample size of the study. So if we want to reference this, you can either say that uh, the major factors that affect the sample size of the study include study size, this and that, and then up to that you're supposed now to reference. If you're doing referencing, you come to the references, change the style to APA if it is not in APA, and then come to insert citation. And then after that, when you get to that, you go to your Google Scholar. Going to Google Scholar here, you select something that is closer to, let's say that factors affecting sample size. So let's say that this is what we talk about as the factors affecting sample size. So you're supposed to select, you come to your APA and then take the name as it is, that is boom. We're just assuming this is not actually addressing that, and then put it there, then come again and then take the name up to that publishing, and it was published 2010. Then you come here, you put the title of the book, where you got the information, and then this is the publishing. So you go to the publisher and then you feed that, and then the year of publication is 2020. If it was published in a given city, let's say that it's New York, you can have that as New York, and then make entry. So that will be in-text citation. But in a case, if the citation is part of the body essay, you are supposed to start writing as according to this person. We have it as Bloom, according to Bloom 2010, a common factors affecting sample size of a study include, and then you list those. Or maybe you can say that Bloom 2010, Blues 2010 claims are found out or demonstrated or illustrated that, then you continue. So these are some of the some of the wordings that you can use. Can either use claimed, found out, demonstrated, illustrated, or any other kind of descriptive word that will allow you to do that. So that is the two here are when the citation is part of the body, you see, but this is the in-text citation. So after you are done with that, you are supposed to go to your last part, which is now reference list. So the reference list is different, like the case of MLA. MLA we call it as works cited, but in APA it is reference list, but the lists are just the same. So you go to bibliography and then insert bibliography. So it will come at this point. The reference is supposed to be centered as well. So you have that. So that will mark the end of APA formatting, but there are much that you can do as you practice. As you practice, you can visit one of the sites that we've mentioned in other tutorials. That was the scripts, and then the Purdue. So those two sites, they are very resourceful, and they will help you sharpening your skills in referencing and even other referencings that we've not discussed. So this marks the end of our study, and would like to know your comment, your view. So share and like. Also subscribe to our channel so that anytime we post another video, an educative one, of course, you'll get to know the notification. We have a lot to share with you beyond academic writing, but anything that will empower you and make you grow. Otherwise, thank you for watching and have a good time.